I guess that R plus L equals J is going to come out in this episode. It's called The Dragon and the Wolf. We all guessed, okay, that doesn't just mean Jon and Dany. That also means Rhaegar and Lyanna. It did. We saw Rhaegar Targaryen, guys. But I cannot believe that R plus L officially equals J. You know, last year there was that HBO post about how that sort of gave it away. But to me, it wasn't official until it was official. And we were watching the Inside the Episode afterwards, and David Benioff and D.B. Weiss, the showrunners, were talking sort of about how they needed to find a way to still make it surprising, even for something that people saw coming. Do you think that they did a good job of that?
Of sort of giving us something most of us already knew.
And still serving up, yeah, we are a bunch of nerds. But even going past it, I mean, it was more than just his parentage in this reveal.
Right, it was that really just saying out loud, putting all the clues together that Jon is the heir to the Iron Throne, has a better claim than Dany, which is crazy because he's Aegon Targaryen.
Which like is a whole other can of worms because book readers know there is a different Aegon Targaryen. And I think in the show as well they've established that Rhaegar's first son was also named Aegon, the one he had with Elia Martell, the Red Viper's sister. So what does that mean? Did they just really want an Aegon and it didn't matter whose name it was? I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like once we get to this point in the books, we'll have like a whole different mess of clues to string together because it is very different. But yeah, let's just focus on the show to save ourselves some time and a bit of confusion. But no, yeah, so that was an awesome, crazy reveal that it's like we finally got it. You yourself, it was just an emotional like win for you. I wore my shirt.
This is my second time this year, and I bought this shirt for the Tower of Joy episode, and I'm very glad that it all came true.
What if it was wrong?
Yeah, I would just like scratch some things out. Yeah, it was crazy. The Aegon Targaryen reveal was nuts. Like, I mean, I think everyone thought that they had people like slowed it down and had like linguists like checking to see like what Lyanna was saying in that scene. People settled on Jacaerys being the name, but then of course we find out it's Aegon here, and Bran has that great line that's like Robert's rebellion was built on a lie, which I loved, which was sort of the fun of the theory when you realize that sort of the thing that set Robert off was based on a lie. He thought that Lyanna, the woman that he loved, was kidnapped by Rhaegar and raped, and she married him.
Yeah, it was very sweet, you know, a very episode 2 Attack of the Clones secret wedding, Anakin Padme action there.
But very sweet, I think, that Jon's, you know, came into the world from a relationship built on love. Now, there's another relationship that we're getting into right now that just got a lot more complicated.
Yes, well, history is repeating itself. A dragon and a wolf are lying in bed together again, and
Targaryen incest.
Yes, and that was that was sort of the weird part. As he's like confirming, as Bran is confirming that Jon and Dany are in fact related, they're both Targaryens. They're boning. They're in the bone zone.
Whoever was in the editing room had so much fun with this episode too, because like they're waiting until Jon like thrusts into Dany, and he's like, and he's the true heir to the Iron Throne, and then like, and it was funny again in the Inside the Episode where they're sort of like the showrunners are talking in like these big words in ways about this reveal, and then they're like, and Dany's his aunt, and it's like, yep, okay, well, some people loved it, I think, just looking at Twitter, and some people are like, you gross.
Yes, but there's already a meme out there of like, it's season 1 showing Jaime and Cersei, and it's like, ew, no, and then it's like season 7 Dany and Dawn, and everyone's like, yeah, finally.
I think the showrunners wanted to twist the knife a little bit with that reveal by being like, actually, they're related. I don't think it would.
Because people have been shipping it. Oh, and it happened on a ship.
We watched this together and we were making the joke where, you know, every week we've been checking in, do you ship it? And literally they're on a ship. Yeah.
That the rowing joke with Gendry plus this, it's the show's becoming very meta.
Well, do you ship it at this point?
I do not ship it.
You do not ship it.
I think it's weird, and it'll aside from the incest factor, which is already weird, just the fact that it could only lead to a huge clash, right? Like, do you really see them working out? Like, Dany has lived her whole life. Well, actually, she came up to believe through her life that she deserves this and she is the one. He's actually already pledged his loyalty to her. I guess it would make sense for them to get married and just call that a compromise, but I feel like she has a lot of pride, and I think that's going to be a big problem for them going forward, especially when they're supposed to be working together to stop the end of the world.
I agree with you, because I think, you know, best case scenario, they get married and they just decide to make this union official, and that's all great. But I think you're right. I think Dany does have a lot of pride, and Jon had a lot of pride, but he bent the knee to her. Will she bend the knee to him? And, you know, they're already, even before this episode aired, there was a lot of debate about whether or not she does have the he has the better claim to the Iron Throne, or she does. I think that the showrunners made it pretty definitive that she did. I'm not an expert to be able to go through and track all those things, but it is very curious that Bran was so adamant, we need to tell him, I guess because Daenerys is coming, but this can't be anything but bad news for their new blossoming romance. Again, things I never thought I would be saying, because they seemed so far-fetched when you started reading these books to actually happen.
Yeah, I will say the one thing that disappointed me about the reveal is that it's kind of the character who kind of already knew most of it is when Sam met Bran that they finally put 1 and 2 together, and how important it was about the thing about the succession to the throne. But I didn't think that was enough of a big impact. I guess for people who didn't know, they just had their minds blown. Right. This would be an awesome moment of TV for them. But for all of us, who've just been paying attention for a long time, we already kind of figured it out. I wanted Jon to find out, right? And have that sort of be where he's left at the end of this season, and then we have to see how he deals with it going into next season. So the fact that the audience was told, essentially, that's not enough for me. I wanted it to be higher stakes.
Well, I frankly did not have the same issue, which is saying something, because this is something that I've been waiting to have happen. You're like, yes.
You're Miss R plus L equals J.
But I am okay with it not happening here, because then that has to be the premiere, right? What comes next? There are 6 episodes left of Game of Thrones.
Don't say it out loud, Terry.
6. I know.
Makes it true.
It's crazy. And so to me, that has to be something that they deal with immediately. And we'll get to some predictions for what comes next from here later in the episode. But I like that is where they'll have to open. They'll just have consummated this romance. They'll arrive in Winterfell, and Bran and Sam will be like, by the way, surprise, you're the true heir to the throne, and we don't know what to do with this lady.
Mm-hmm. What if how long is that boat ride going to take? Could she, let's say, because remember they had that
probably -5 minutes.
Remember that conversation they had about, she's like, I can't have children, and it's like, maybe she can. And I guess we'll find out literally next season if she is with child, if she, I love in the books they call it her moon's blood. If she misses her moon's blood.
You can't say it with a straight face.
Okay.
Can you just take it again? Can you say the M word?
Moon's blood?
Yeah, you did it really well. No, I agree with you, and I like that we as fans place so much weight on George R. R. Martin's words and the words of his characters. And so when Miri Musder said, you won't have a child again until the sun rises in the west and sets in the east, and this whole prophecy, we're like, okay, this happened, this happened, this happened. Does this matter? And the books sort of set up their own way for that story to take off. But to me, Jon's lying to her about I don't know if you should buy Miri Musder's claim that you can't have kids as real. It's sort of a note to fans hey, ignore that, ignore the Valonqar theory, ignore all these things that you think are happening, and just go along for the ride with us. So I'm with you. I think that she probably will end up being pregnant with Jon's baby or something like that. And then I actually thought, sort of jumping ahead a little bit, I thought that maybe Tyrion was going to make a deal with Cersei that would promise their firstborn children to each other, and that would be part of their compromise, because Tyrion would know, oh, well, Dany can't have kids, and then if she did. But that didn't end up happening, so that's a theory that no one has to hear from Terry Schwartz. That's our show. If you enjoy Dragons on the Wall, please like and subscribe, and give us positive comments everywhere you like to watch. Tell your friends, tell your family. There's a long, cold night of a wait ahead of us before we get to season 8. And make sure to like and subscribe to IGN as well, every place you like to watch. Thanks, guys.